Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4 o'clock. My name is Pat Fabian. I'm Strong County Commissioner and Chairman of SPC. Welcome to the Southwestern Pennsylvania Full Commission meeting. Today is Monday, October 27th, 2025. We're convening this meeting at 4 p.m. Again, welcome. Yes, I do have a mustache today, inspired by Chuck back here from SPC. But as I look around the room, there's a lot of good-looking mustaches around here. I'm sitting across the room, so Chris. So
should vote.
yeah, try. So, we have a quorum.
Yes.
All right, we do have a quorum. Any conflicts of interest or declarations on any of the action items? Not hearing any, we'll move along. Do I have a motion to take action on approval of the August 25th, 2025 meeting? Leslie, Chris, thank you very much. Any questions, comments, or revisions come before Commission? Not hearing any. All those in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We do have public comment. We have Mr. Henry Posner. So the floor is yours. We do have a microphone. Did you get a microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Where should I stand for the camera?
That's how the mic
This is all yeah, over here. Okay. Oh yeah, right there. Yeah, right here. Right.
Right next to Lily,
Yep.
maybe.
Okay.
Yep. We do have allotting you 5 minutes today. We'll start the clock when you start speaking, and your comment will be reflected in our meeting minutes. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I serve as chairman of Railroad Development Corporation, which is a Pittsburgh-based family-owned international railway investment management. Among other things, I also serve as chairman of the Iowa State Railroad, a freight line between Chicago and Omaha. Chairman of RDC Deutschland, a passenger train operator and rail asset owner in Germany. Chairman of Eurorail, a rail freight and logistics operator in France. A director of TDI, a UK-based producer of rolling stock and a rail concession owner. And a director of FCCA Peru, a freight railroad that is adding an urban passenger service in Lima. I also serve as co-chair of the U.S. Surface Transportation Board Passenger Rail Advisory Committee and as an adjunct faculty member at CMU, where I teach an undergrad course on rail deregulation. Specific to the SPC, in the past, I've served as a member of the Rail Freight Advisory Committee and recently presented at Euro Freight Forum. I provide the above background as evidence of my knowledge of our region, the region's transportation needs, and how those needs fit in a global context. But in addition to transportation, I also care deeply about proper governance, which comes partially from my family's legacy of philanthropy and commitment to the region. My family's devoted significant time and resources to CMU and the Winchester Thurston School, where I served as board chairman, and which resulted in my current service as a board member at ISCA, the National Association for Independent School Board Chairs. I say this to indicate my passion for the region and focus on governance. And the reason I'm here today is to express my concerns regarding the governance of SPC. For the last 5 years, I've been involved in a project that would benefit both the region and save public money. This is the Brilliant Branch rail line between Homewood and Aspinwall, a rails with trails project that would increase access to transportation for the Pittsburgh region through integration with Pittsburgh Regional Transit via the East Busway. This integration would link many communities, including Aspinwall, Homewood, Wilkinsburg, East Liberty, Oakland, downtown, and the airport. By using infrastructure that is already in place, the Brilliant Branch would also help foster and bolster past investments in and around Bakery Square, CMU, alternative modes of transportation and access, et cetera. For these reasons, the Brilliant Branch project has enjoyed support from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, CMU, Pittsburgh Public Transit, Mobilify, Rail Trail Advocates, Waterworks Mall, and others in the community. But despite its significant support to date, the Brilliant Branch project has not yet been implemented, nor has it been endorsed and or supported by SPC. One must ask why. Given my passion for the region and belief in the project, I began to investigate SPC's conduct and position regarding the Brilliant Branch. The results of my investigation raised serious questions regarding SPC's governance. I attempted to raise these issues with SPC representatives, refused to engage in a collaborative discussion regarding my concerns, and appeared to have only taken acute action to protect self-serving interests. To be very clear, however, I am not here today to argue about the implementation of the Brilliant Branch project. Rather, I'm here to publicly raise concern regarding SPC's governance, which I believe underlies not only the fate of the Brilliant Branch, but more globally, the credibility of SPC's mission and its certification as an MPO, Municipal Planning Organization. I remain open to engaging in a collaborative effort to address what appears to be SPC governance issues, and would appreciate knowing how this board, not the professional staff with whom we've built to date, intend to proceed regarding this matter. I appreciate the opportunity for the first time to make this a matter of public record, and hope this will help motivate SPC to follow up in a more serious collaborative manner that has been exhibited to date. And please note that I'm accompanied today by my attorney, Lou DePaul. Lou DePaul from Eckerd Siemens. Eckerd Siemens has collaborated with my family for 4 generations. Thank you very much. Now, I do have copies of this, which I will be giving to all of you as I walk around the room. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That is the only public comment that we had signed up. Anyone else? All right, none hearing. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving along, we're going to move along to the executive director report. Executive Director Rich Fitzgerald.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as I said at the corporation meeting, we really wanted to highlight our trip last month to Washington, D.C. With the Allegheny Conference and the business community throughout southwestern Pennsylvania. It was great, and then all 10 counties were there participating. We're testifying before our congressional delegation about the needs for this region, which was very, very helpful. We had a little kind of reception and then meeting next day with Senator McCormick. Flipping to the next slide, you can see some of the folks that were there. One of the biggest things that this region has done over the last number of years is obviously the airport opening. And you can see this opening, it was by the way, the governor, the lieutenant governor, Senator McCormick, all 3 congressmen for this region, Kelly, Lee, and DeLuzio, Senator Robinson, Senator Gatos, and you see also County Executive Innamorato, obviously there, and our county commissioners from Beaver County that were also there, Manning and Amadeo. Again, a huge initiative for this entire region, which hopefully will be open in another couple of weeks from what we understand. And I do understand that the trial that they did over the weekend seemed to go very, very well. Next, I want to talk about the NFL draft very briefly. We haven't heard from that for a while, but I just got an email just today that they are going to be reaching out to all 10 counties, and they're going to be asking for a list of 3 things in your counties where people might want to come visit. So be thinking about that. Be working with your planning directors. They want to put that in the visitor's guide when folks do come to visit next April. So obviously we know this opportunity with that many people coming could be great for the tourism industry, not just at Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, but for folks that want to see some of the great things we have in our region and be able to do that. Next, I want to talk about the TIP meetings, which we are right now about halfway through as we develop the next 4-year transportation plan. Rhonda and Lily and Ryan and Devin have been going to, all the counties. PennDOT has been a great participant. Want to thank them for their work. And there's still a few more to be done over the next few weeks. And again, as we start to go through, I call it the pre-tip meeting. But then next spring, we'll be doing that as we develop the tip and hearing from the constituents in your counties. And then the vote will be next June for the next 4-year transportation plan. The PA sites, we talked a little bit about. The governor has released about $39 million for 11 projects statewide. A few of them in our region, $6 million to McKees Rocks. Another one, 7.7 to the Fort Cherry development. And then there's another one in Westmoreland County, the Tech Fusion site also receives a significant investment in there as well. Allegheny County had a big announcement just last week with EOS Energy. I know the Allegheny Conference and REDC, and so many partners have been working on that. About 1,000 jobs that are going to be located up in the northern part of Allegheny County, and put their corporate headquarters moving from New Jersey into Nova Place over the north side. We also had Secretary Siger here with the Bring the World to Pennsylvania. That's what BTW2PA means. With our export folks, there were a dozen countries that were here with many of our companies that were talking about, how we can expand our markets, the markets of our companies here with DCED, who has a pretty robust program on overseas trade, had that at CMU. Jen and her team participated in that. Jen Latz and her team. It was a very, very successful program. Speaking of Jen, she's going to talk about this later, but the Build Back Better grant that is kind of winding down that we had received a number of years ago. Continue to work on that. Events coming up. Robotics Discovery Day is on 11/5. That'll be next week at the Convention Center. Almost every single one of your counties, in fact, every single one of the counties participate. Thousands of young people who do show up to find out about robotics. Many of the companies in your counties as well will be there. It's a great event. I think it's the fourth one that they've had. And then finally, want to talk and thank everybody for showing up the AI Horizons Day that we had at Bakery Square back in September. You see some of the pictures there of some of the commissioners, and I know there were a lot of good connections with developers, with power companies, with energy companies, and obviously many of you are still in the midst of great opportunities when it comes to AI and data centers. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Rich? Not hearing any. I just want to reiterate what Rich had said about the fly-in. Last year was great. This year was even better. I thought the counties and their representatives did a great job of telling their county story and actually their needs. And collectively, one thing I've always appreciated about SBC is us speaking, that theme this year, that one voice, one region. So thank you for everybody participating in that, because I do believe that's impactful. All right, we're going to move along to our transportation report. And Lily.
Great, thank you. This is a little bit long, but I'm going to try to get through it. Is this on? Okay. Okay. So just a few general items to report. We did have our debrief for our DRC TMA certification review in September. It went very well. It was very positive. Again, they commended the public meeting, and they noted to us several times that it was the most folks they had ever seen at a public meeting for a certification review. So I think that speaks to to the engagement on that side, and that was great. So the final report, I think it could be a few to several months. They're report staffed right now at HWA, but we do anticipate getting a formal score in the future. This is an old slide. Okay, here we go. Sorry, that was from last month. Okay. So as Rich said, we've been heavily busy with the 2027 TIP development, which I'm going to talk about in more detail. Staff has held 12 TIP work group meetings so far, and there are 9 more scheduled. We hold these in each of the 3 PennDOT districts in the region, and all of the county planning departments are in attendance, as well as the representatives from the transit agencies. We have actually had 6 TIP public meetings. We were in Green late last week, and 4 more are scheduled in each of the 10 counties. We will be in Beaver County tomorrow afternoon. And then we're also currently in the middle of technical evaluation of our competitive programs, which I will also discuss in more detail. We are in the middle of a regional trail development capacity and needs assessment study. So we've held stakeholder meetings with a number of regional stakeholders in trail development. We've launched a survey that some of you may have seen to identify what the greatest needs are when it comes to maintaining and developing trails in our region. And this effort really just stems from a desire from our partners to investigate future opportunities for collaboration for grant funding for staffing these projects. And then a few of us attended the planning partners meeting in State College. For those of you that aren't familiar, this is an annual meeting where all of the MPOs and the RPOs in the state, as well as the shutdown districts, meet in State College to discuss current initiatives and common goals and challenges. So we had 2 staff members present on their work as part of that conference. And then finally on Friday, October 17th, CC sponsored and many of our staff participated in the Vision Zero Summit held by the City of Pittsburgh and by Pittsburgh at the University of Pittsburgh. Evan Shoss, our operations and safety manager, presented on our regional safety action plan, and I presented on the closing plenary session on the future of Vision Zero in our communities. And I know there were some commissioners there as well, so I just want to commend the city and by Pittsburgh for what I think was a very successful and thoughtful event. Okay, so moving right along, I wanted to provide you with a brief update on where we are at with development of the 2027 to 2030 tip. For those of you who have had your public meetings already and have been in attendance, some of these will look familiar. So I'll try to keep this brief, but I am happy to answer any questions. So our TIP is a 4-year transportation plan for the region. It's a federally required document that all regions in the country must have to receive federal transportation funding. We amend it fully every 2 years, which is the process we are in now to keep it current. But we also keep it up to date every month at our Transportation Technical Committee meetings and our Transit Operator Committee meetings. The TIP covers detail on each project with federal funding in our region as it progresses from preliminary engineering all the way to construction. And we say that each TIP is a step along the 25-year long-range plan to guide our investments. So this is the breakdown of investments in the current highway bridge TIP that we are in now for the entire Kent County region. We're in year 2 of the 2025 TIP, and we essentially won't see year 3 of this plan because it will become year 1 of the 2027 TIP. So every 4-year TIP overlaps by 2 years. And it's $2 billion, that's covered in the bottom of it. It's $2 billion total. But the vast majority of this funding goes directly to bridge and roadway projects that are essentially preservation or reconstruction. 65% of this money goes to keeping the roads and bridges operational and functional. Another 26% of funding goes to safety and operations projects, which improve safety on our roadways and improve traffic flow to reduce emissions. And these are all federal performance measures that we are required to address as part of utilizing this federal transportation funding. So over 90% of this funding is essentially just going to projects that meet performance requirements and keep our roadways safe and operational. This leaves very little money for new capacity and other projects just due to the vast need that we see on our system. And you're going to see this as a recurring trend. So this is the base funding that we get to develop the TIP. You can see here that it's decreased 2% over the last TIP. These figures include federal formula, which is about 70% of total funding, and state highway capital program funding, which is about 30% available to SPC. And they exclude statewide managed programs like regular maintenance funding, interstate funding for roads like 376, 79, 70. Those are all determined at the state level. And then it also excludes any competitive grants that would come into this region via award. And then moving right along, the transit TIP is a separate TIP from the roadway bridge TIP. This one is $2.6 billion funding total. This is mostly state funding as opposed to the highway, which is mostly federal funding. And you can see it's primarily used for operating assistance. So 70% operating, the rest goes to capital improvements that could be purchasing new buses or rehabilitating garages or stations, or in the case of PRT, there's a couple infrastructure they own, like the tunnels or the bus bridges. So the transit funding is pretty much level. Again, it's mostly funded via the state. PRT was given approval to use its allocation of PA state asset improvement program funds for operating assistance. This does not affect the transit TIP funding levels or any county transit agency outside of Allegheny County with PRT. But it may result in projects that I noted on the last slide as being capital being cash flowed out further to facilitate funding for operating expenses. Again, just in the case of PRT, this is not yet the case for any of our other transit agencies, although some of them are looking at fiscal cliffs in the next few years. So we have less money on the highway bridge tip just at a base level, and we're also dealing with the rising cost of construction due to inflation. So this is a national metric that shows how costs have skyrocketed for materials since 2021. But I bring this up because the result of this is that we are facing unforeseen cost increases on construction projects that are resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars in over-programming of projects across our 3 PennDOT districts. So districts are progressively needing to cash flow out projects for longer periods of time to deliver those projects because they're working within existing funding constraints. So that means that there's more carryover going into our next TIP update. So between the lower base funds and the increase in costs, we just are going to have less funding to program new projects on the TIP. It's more important than ever to deliver projects in a timely manner because the longer they stay on the program, the less funding is available in the future for new projects and the more that they can inflate in cost as time goes on. So the takeaway for what you'll see with this 2027 TIP project list, which is still under development, as I said, we're still in the middle of work meetings, is we're not cutting any projects, but there may be less new projects than we've seen in the past. So we're committing to projects that have already been added to the TIP. We will deliver those. We have a lot of really good projects that we have yet to deliver. Just please know that any new projects that get added could result in other projects being cash flowed out further, and you might see longer delivery times. So that's kind of the summary on that. And then, as I said earlier, we have been to 6 of our counties. We'll be in Beaver County tomorrow. Then we have a virtual Allegheny County and City of Pittsburgh meeting. And then we will be in Westmoreland County and then Butler County in early December. So you're welcome to attend any and all meetings you'd like, and you'll get a much more in-depth version of this presentation. I tried to just do a high-level one for those of you that are not able to be in attendance of those. So are there any questions on that before I move into competitive programs?
Yeah, what's behind our base funding being reduced by 2%?
Gas tax is a major issue, just not as much revenue in the gas tax. There's the federal level and then the state level. So that's kind of something that's happening at both levels. I know I just read something today that said less truck mileage. Feel free to jump in, Ryan. I don't want to stop you, but I don't want to put you on the spot.
There's an increase in the amount that's being dedicated to interstate versus.
Yeah, that's the state. So that's a statewide decision. So the state gets the formula funding, and then the state is taking some of our NHPP funding and putting it into the interstate program, which is managed not by us, but at the state level.
It's been going on for quite a while.
That's been a couple of years. State police divergence are going down, so they're trickling down on that. So that's good. So we're seeing a little bit more in that. I don't think have fully seen the impact of the EV fee yet, so that might ultimately things a little bit. Take some debt. I mean, some of it's just you'll see when you look at that chart. I mean, that's passage of IIJA from 2021 to 2023. So we were kind of going down, and then we got IIJA, and we kind of got a bump in funding. Now we're seeing a little bit lower again due to all those different issues. It's right now we're projecting flat for the next because we don't have the details on the next Highway Reauthorization Act. So we're just assuming flat funding. We hopefully know that maybe we'll get more. That would be great because the need is there, but we just don't know yet. So
I was just wondering if other regions of Pennsylvania are also going.
Yeah, they would. Yeah. Again, like they're not the money that's happening at the state for the interstates. They're taking that, right off the top during financial guidance, and then they're making this decision about where those interstate funds go. So the districts will go out and do presentations and try to get the interstate funds in each district, but it's the central office decision about where those go. And there's a couple of different programs like that, but that's kind of the main gist of it. Did I miss anything on?
No, that's all the major stuff. Yeah.
All right. Any great question. Thank you. Any other questions? Just want to make sure everyone is informed on this as we continue chugging along. Okay, so I want to just quickly also touch on competitive programs because when you see this again, it's going to be December and we're going to be going to executive committee with the suggested slate of projects. So again, I just want to make sure everyone's informed on what's going on with this. So the competitive program selection committee has been convened for the 2027 TIP and they have had their first meeting. They will meet 2 more times before the end of the year. And then at the conclusion of their 3rd meeting, recommendations will be made to TTC on a slate of projects for approval. These projects will be included in the 2027 TIP, which will come to commission to vote for adoption in June of 2026. All different dates there. June of 2026 is TIP adoption. For those of you that heard me talk about long range plan, that's June of 2027. So TIP and then next year's long range plan. The committee mirrors the composition of the TTC and the TOC, as well as members representing active transportation and freight and air quality agencies. All counties have a representation on the selection committee, and we do try to limit conflicts of interest wherever possible to try to keep it completely non-biased. The committee selects funding for 3 programs that SPC has jurisdiction over, awarding federal funding for, and that is congestion mitigation and air quality, carbon reduction, and transportation alternatives set aside. So you'll hear us refer to these as CMAQ, CRP, and TA. And again, it's important to note here that the current Surface Transportation Act, which funds these programs, is set to expire prior to the start of the 2027 TIP. On September 30th, 2026. The next TIP will start on October 1st, 2026. So the next day. So that means that there is no guarantee that these programs will exist in the new Transportation Act. Again, we plan for flat level funding in order to line up these projects. We have to do this because, we need the projects in line for the next TIP update. But this is a standard notice that we include anytime this happens, which is historically anytime a new Transportation Act is set to expire. But we need to pick new programs to make sure we have them in the pipeline. So something I wanted to touch on quickly is that these projects need to help the region meet its federal performance targets. So for example, for CMAQ, we need to choose projects that specifically will reduce volatile organic compounds, oxides of nitrogen, particulate matter, and carbon monoxide emissions. And that is why deliverability is factored into project selection. So if a project is selected, but is not delivered in the time frame, then we will not meet our emissions reduction targets. And that can trigger additional reporting requirements and place restrictions on the future use of certain federal funds. So for instance, in this table, and Chuck, please feel free to shout out if I say anything wrong, but I'm doing my best. Chuck's the expert. We programmed a project for VOC emissions, but that project was not delivered in the time frame. So we did not meet our VOC target. So we did have another project that we were able to use to make up for it with one of the other targets, that it's a constant balance to make sure that we're addressing these targets. And I just want to emphasize that that's why this process, for those of you who've been a part of this for a long time, it's become very technical and data driven, just to make sure that, we're selecting projects that score well on our technical criteria. They relate to our performance measures and goals and strategies of our long range plan to make sure we're doing what we need to do to meet federal compliance. And then we also have a similar criteria in our CASA program as it pertains to performance measure 1, which is safety. And we try to ensure that projects selected will improve safety in our region and reduce serious and fatal injury crashes. So the selection committee will be provided with all of the technical scoring that is being done by SBC staff. And at that point, we'll review weighted and unweighted output scenarios. And the committee's job is not to be unbiased and select a slate of projects that deliver the greatest benefit, but to select a slate of projects that deliver the greatest benefit based on the objectives of the program. The selection committee will send that list to the TTC, who will endorse it for SPC executive committee review, as I noted before. So this is just the upcoming schedule. As I said, we have meeting 1. It was mostly informational, kind of laying it out. The next meeting is in November, and then we'll have the meeting to finalize the list of candidate projects for recommendation to TTC and to executive committee for approval in December. So again, for those of you that are county commissioners, we have county planning departments from every county involved in this committee. So feel free to reach out to them if you have any questions, or you're welcome to reach out directly to me. Also, if you're from a county and you have questions, please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer them. Is there anything anyone wants to raise or ask about now before I move on? That's pretty much it for the competitive programs. Okay. All right. So quickly, I finally have a few resolutions that we need to pass to maintain compliance with federal transit agency requirements. So you should have received the Title VI plan and the safety plan, the ample safety plan in the handouts for this month. Neither of these have changed since the last time they came to commission. There are no changes since the last time they were voted on. there's just a number of things that we need to do as an organization to stay in compliance with FTA because of our VAMPL program. These are two of them. It also includes our affirmation of being a drug-free workplace, which you might see when you walk around. We have signs up everywhere showing that. And then we also need to kind of annually check in and make sure we're meeting our TDE goals with contract procurement. These are just two additional things that we need to do to make sure that they're doing everything we need to do to stay in compliance. So we're trying to get on a cycle of annual affirmation of these documents so that we make sure that everything's neat and tidy and we know when they come up every year for that. So any questions on these? Great.
All right.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So at this time, I'm going to look for a motion and a second for discussion on resolution 12-25 for the Title VI compliance plan. Vince, do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions for Lily on the compliance plan at this time? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you. Action item accepted. All right. And then I'm looking for a motion and a second on resolution 13-25 to adopt the public transit agency safety plan at this time. I think I have a second. Thanks, Nick. Any questions for Lily? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Lily, anything else?
No, thank you. I know that was a lot, but I wanted to make sure you had all the information. So contact me if you have any other questions that come up. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You and your team do a great job. We appreciate all your efforts. All right, moving along. Strategic initiatives report. A guy named DJ Riot.
It's that kind of stuff. My report is just about as long as those. So no big. So I'm going to go through this as quick as possible. First of all, a reminder that we are well underway with our newsletter refresh. So please, if you have anything good happening in your community, we would really like to know about it. If you have a press distribution list, if you have a communications office that's putting out press releases, please add me to those lists. I'd love to just see what you're putting out and see how we can amplify the work that you're doing. I also think that it's important that I want to thank Melissa, first of all, from our team for really spearheading this. It's been great. I also think that one of the things that is exciting about what we're doing now is we are generating our own content. So many of you have probably seen Mason from my team walking around here, but Mason is working on writing his own stories. So we're actually interviewing people here at SPC about what they're working on, things like the freight plan, or we're going to do something about the new opening of the airport. And he's writing stories that are going to be put on our website and also in our newsletters. So we're also making sure that we're getting the message of SPC out to the public without necessarily going through a news outlet that may all the time on certain things that we're doing. We also have some great new social media graphics. Here's one. We're trying very hard to be cool about, and be relevant. So the kids would come to our climate action plan meetings. So this is a graphic we put out on social media. It's one of my favorites. That's Taylor Swift getting proposed to in the issue on. So please keep us posted on the good things that are happening in your community and let us know. We want to amplify the work there.
That's not Travis Kelsey, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I have a picture of that on my nightstand, so I know that's that.
It's like that's Breyer. And
We're gonna have to get to you now.
But anyway, so yeah, please, if you have anything, tag us in your social media posts. On the freight plan, I just want to give you an update. So we had a dual purview PWP amendment in summer to develop the freight plan. And our focus is we've refined the focus of the freight plan. So we do have progress on that. We're still going to identify all the useful metrics, the type of freight that's moving, key routes and things like that. But we are making sure to emphasize measures to increase safety, efficiency, and reliability. Those are going to be the three main focuses of the update to our freight plan. We're still in the very early phases of this. I will have a lot more to talk about in subsequent meetings. But if you do have questions about the freight plan, please don't hesitate to talk to Sarah or I. And on the CPRG front, our public meetings have concluded now. I want to thank all of you for your support in getting those meetings finished. We not only had a meeting in every county, we were also out at a lot of community festivals. In particular, I can recall, the Rain Day Festival in Waynesburg, for example, and a lot of other places around the community, around the region, rather. So we got a lot of great feedback from those. Of course, between some layoffs at the federal level, a pause in our funding due to a review period, now a federal shutdown, we have had to go on what I will call accelerated timeline to meet the goal here. We will have a all-encompassing plan that's going to be completed by December. I would have liked to have a little more time to dive into certain areas that we're not going to be able to, but Mason will continue to do the work that is reflected in the CPR's plan. But the document itself is due at the end of the year. On the broadband front, PBDA is moving to an implementation phase now. I'm sure all of you know that they've approved their map and their preliminary map. So what that means for SPC is, of course, I will still be happy to work with any of you on broadband issues. We still have a great relationship with the PBDA. They did dissolve the subcommittees that were working on specific issues here. I was a member of the technical subcommittee at the request of some of the commissioners to have SPC representation when they were forming these subcommittees a couple of years ago. I'm no longer on that committee because it doesn't exist anymore, but neither to any of the other ones. But we're going to stay engaged, and we're in contact with the regional representatives in the state house. In particular, Representative Matsey has been is a representative of Southwestern PA and has been really great to work with. So we'll continue with that. DC, I echo everybody else's thanks, and just if anybody has feedback on the DC fly-in that you want to share with me, I very much appreciate that. Want to make sure that we continue to improve that every year. NEVI, that's National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure. So this is charging for EVs. You'll see a graphic that we put on social there. That was for a survey. We asked members of the public to tell us, drop pins on a map on where they think we should put new EV chargers. We had dozens of responses for that. Very happy with the results we got there. That information from that survey was then split up by county and sent to your county planning directors. So all of the county planning offices have that information. We have asked them to send it back to us by tomorrow, right? Yeah. So we've asked them for tomorrow. And if we need to wait until Wednesday morning, that's fine. But if you have thoughts, if you have not engaged with the county planning offices, I know many of you have. I know the offices reached out to you, but if you haven't and you have thoughts on where we should put electric vehicle chargers, please speak with your county planning offices. We have asked them to get that information to us at the end of the day tomorrow. We have to compile all of it and then send a list of zip codes to PennDOT by the end of the month. So time is of the essence. So Thursday.
Give a couple of days.
Oh, did we get, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Thursday. So you have a little extra time, but not much. So we did get responses from every county, by the way, some more than others, but it is our goal to have additional infrastructure and to have PennDOT prioritize additional EV infrastructure in every county. I'll just say one other thing, which is this is not along the interstates. This is community charging. So the goal here is to focus on, downtown and places that are not necessarily the exit of a highway. They can be, but to get them in your city centers and places like that. Tip unions. Just want to say that just want to thank you all for working with Ron on getting those set up. We do have our second round of tip meetings coming next year as well. So we're finishing round one, sending tip round two shortly. Couple last minute things. First of all, we had, I also want to hear referring the transportation committee river cruise that we had. This was a really good opportunity for members of the House and Senate transportation committees to talk directly with not only SPC, but the Pittsburgh Commission and a lot of other stakeholders around the importance of increased commercial and recreational traffic on the rivers. I know you talked about that a ton. Also, I am one of the SPC appointees to the Board of Pittsburgh Commission. So just a quick update there that there's a task force being assembled that's going to look at freight diversification on the rivers. It is no secret to those of you who've been coming to these meetings for a while that we are seeing decreased commercial traffic on all three rivers in the region. And out the Allegheny River was of the greatest need when it first came out, but it is now all of them. We had a presentation from the Army Corps of Engineers who announced that the Morgantown Lock and Dam on the Monongahela is going to be decreasing its hours of operation because of decreased freight traffic. That will likely have an effect on the rest of the locks on the Mon. Not right now, but at some point. So the board is working with SPC as a co-lead on an application that would establish a task force that's essentially going to go to local businesses and say how can and inform them about how they can use the river to ship their product, whatever it is, and also look at containerization. Right now, we ship mostly dry goods, coal and sugar and rice and things like that on the river. We're talking now about shipping pretty much anything. If we have barges that are retrofitted for shipping containers, we can do that and get it all the way to the Gulf and more in the world later and start. So we'll have a lot more on that. Hopefully, we're going to see some positive results from that grant application. And that's it for me. If anybody has questions, happy to answer them now or after the meeting.
Thank you, DJ. Any questions for DJ at this time? All right, not hearing any, we're going to move along to workforce and economic development report. Jennifer?
Perfect. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. And kick this off. So updates and priorities for the last few months. Business finance did a phenomenal job. We have 6 loans in for 25-26 and over $2 million in the pipeline. Export, we had our Bring the World to PA event. I'm going to show you a slide with pictures and a little bit more about it. Our water resource center. So we have Chartiers Creek support, Army Corps projects, some CPRG meetings. I think you all know Mason, but do you want to tell a little bit about some things that are going on?
Everybody, I'm Mason Security, Water Program Manager at the SPC. A lot of things going on at the moment, but I just want to remind everybody that there is a DEP MS4 permit on the horizon. They are shifting their priorities from a pollutant reduction plan to a stormwater volume management plan that's on the horizon. We're suspecting some counties may be further ahead than others, so that's why SPC's here. We're here to be a resource to be utilized by our counties. So if any municipalities are behind or wanting to get their Act 167 plans updated or MS4 permits updated, contact me, Mason Security here at the SPC, or generally anybody at SPC. If you have a water-related topic or concern for your municipality, contact us here at SPC. It'll get funneled down and we'll get it addressed. So thank you very much.
Perfect. All right. So as for DCD Prep and Engage program, we're waiting on a state budget like everybody else. So ARC wise, if you want to talk a little bit about ARC. Sure. So we just closed out Power, which was delayed as the RFP was under review with LNB. It normally comes out February or March. But this year came out in September. There were 400 LOI submissions across all of Appalachia. In Pennsylvania, there were 140. Out of those 140, 66 of those originated from southwestern Pennsylvania. So I'm grateful to have been a little busy recently. So Powers for Coal Impacted Communities, I would say it's preferential for workforce development initiatives. Power, the rumor is that Power will be opening up again on Stormwell timeline in February or March of next year. As a reminder, maximum request is $2 million for most of southwestern Pennsylvania. The match requirement is 50% of the total project cost. So if you're requesting $2 million, you're bringing in $2 million. There's also area development, which is ARC's landmark funding streams. With the federal shutdown, no new grant agreements are being signed, so I don't know where that lands right now. And then I think the RISE, which is for multi-state funding opportunities. One must have a partner in another state. I believe that implementation grants are going to be of more interest rather than planning grants. Because I do not know what the future for RISE looks like. So unless you have a very solid plan for how you're going to fund implementation in the future, I would go for implementation. Maximum request for that is $10 million. Match requirements still apply.
And just a reminder to everybody, regardless of funding stream, if you have a project in mind that you want to discuss, you're not really quite sure how to fund it or what programs might be of use, just reach out. Let's brainstorm through it. We'll figure out who has the dollars to potentially pay for it. Yes, I know it's a very odd time with state and federal no budget. So, but perfect time to brainstorm. So continued support areas, Build Back Better. We have 10 months remaining on this grant. Thousands have been trained working on a very robust semi-annual report right now. As mentioned, we have Robotics and AI Discovery Day coming up on November 5th. I'm going to send this out to everybody just so you're aware of it. But cannot stress this enough. This is one of the best days in the area. You're going to have probably 4,000 to 5,000 people coming to the convention center. You're going to have hundreds of robotics companies. Every year they improve on it in a very different way. And I say them as that's Pittsburgh Robotics Network is who hosts it. And basically, there's a section for education and students of all ages. So now it's kind of with everybody in one place. They have a section just for students and education. So they're going to have schools come in the morning. Like if you're looking to connect with a business, to talk to each other, to just see some great robots. It is a wonderful day. It is at no cost. And it is on November 5th. And I believe it's from 9 till 6 p.m. You'll get more information on that. So building capacity, we're trying really hard, carrying additional dollars, working to communicate with our legislators and partners on just the importance of us as the LDD and EDD in all of our activities. Workforce-wise, we're continuing to meet with industry to figure out what are the needs, what are the challenges. Are we able to connect to our workforce investment boards, career links, and others to create support programming and just brainstorming on regional data needs. One thing that still continues to be a challenge is nobody knows where students go after they graduate. And so that's something we're trying to work with Cashy on and a few other folks just to figure out what are the opportunities for that. Are they staying here? Are they going into careers within the field? As a former history major, did not end up. Yes, it did not work out that way, right? But getting an idea of what people want to stand for and where they end up. So as Rich mentioned, Bring the World to PA. So this was hosted on September 12th at CMU. It's an annual event that SPC Export Team hosts along with DCD and the Regional Export Network. So it included Secretary Siger as a speaker, Rich Fitzgerald, Ben Pratt from the Allegheny Conference, and connected local businesses with 12 countries. We even saw the Pittsburgh Steelers there having some conversations with folks. So amazing event where you get to hear all about how we can connect local businesses here with the ability to export their products overseas. We also attended the Regional Progress Forum. This was on September 25th at the Heinz History Center. Keynote speakers, panel discussions, and data overviews from experts, discussions on impacts to rural and urban populations, workforce and education panels, but basically talking about where Southwestern Pennsylvania is going and how we're going to plan for the future. This is an amazing event. So this was something that we traveled very far upstairs for. And this was RK Mellon's Rural College Community Initiative. And so Faith and I attended and spoke at this upstairs. So RK Mellon launched an initiative to support the economic development in rural communities in Western Pennsylvania. So specifically starting with institutions of higher education. So Allegheny College in Meadville, Seton Hill and Greensburg, St. Vincent and Latrobe, Washington and Jefferson in Washington, UPitt, Johnstown, and Grove City. And so basically SPC, USDA Rural, SBA, DCD, and SPC were panel members, and we just went over the overview of resources and services. Jonna Pro did an amazing job on behalf of DCD with this group. I love watching her speak because she was so real with everybody about how to apply for funding, what funding was there. But then later there was a speed dating session. So Faith and myself sat in a room and they brought each of those colleges in to talk about their projects, what they're looking to do, how they could be funding and where we can help. So what was amazing out of that is through multiple conversations, about maybe 2 weeks later, Faith and I are at an event and somebody said, hey, heard you had a great idea for an Arise project. And I said, I don't even remember saying that. Yes. And so it's probably going to turn into a $10 million Arise project just from a conversation from this with SPC leading. So again, anywhere you see that you would like SPC to be a part of to talk about those resources, we are here. We also recently just spoke at the PETA BRE training. So it was virtual as well as in Harrisburg. SPC has been selected 3 years in a row to be a presenter on business retention and expansion for the IEDC accredited basic economic development course. This is sponsored by the PETA folks. Basically, we're providing our best practices on the Engage program, how we build relationships with businesses and the importance of business retention, but also really our regional partnership strengths. That's where we shine. And we couldn't do that without, again, all of your organizations, your economic development partners, and really industry. So, and then we also had just recently the Regional Growth Summit. This was hosted by CabCon. I can never pronounce that group up there as well. And it was, I'm not going to try, guys. The event was held at Butler County Community College, BC3. First of all, if you all have never been up to that campus, it is absolutely stunning. It is picturesque. The students are having a great time. It's wonderful. So we had keynote speakers. There was a tour available, networking and discussions about regional growth. As you can see, we had Commissioner Oshie speak, Senator Hutchinson, Mark Gordon, Joe Saylor, and really Rich Fitzgerald spoke, as well as the Vice President of CabCon Construction. The whole point of this was to talk about where are we going, how are we growing, everything from permitting issues to things that are hindering or opportunities for growth in the region. But what's really neat about this group is they partner with educational entities. Their last one was at IUP. Their one that's going to be coming up is going to be at WJ. So just a really great event. You all saw an email about this. One of the things we'll continue to do is keep you up to date on anything that's going to be held in your region that may impact things like economic growth. Feel free to attend, not attend, but just wanted you to know what's going on in your backyard. And just more around the region. Bots IQ hosted this amazing event about robotics pre-apprenticeship programs. It was a day for students and teachers to get together and talk about kind of the future of what's needed. We attended a meeting, Faith and myself, up at Slippery Rock to talk about some future funding projects. Again, feel free to send us wherever you need to be. If you have educational entities, industry, et cetera, we are happy to come and talk about who we are, what we do, and more importantly, how we get help. Met with the WPC about how our Water Resource Center can partner with them. We recently had a small business food industry focus group. So lots of different small businesses that manufacture food came here to SPC last month to talk about what their challenges are, where they've seen success, really just a networking event to help business grow. We attended the Allegheny Conference's regional investment event. We were at the ARC Frostburg, Maryland regional training, and just recently the ARC Appalachian Leadership Institute in Ashland, Kentucky. Any questions for me, economic development or anything?
Certain thing the commission needs to know about the investment in AI data centers and land use and energy and
It's
workforce.
Sure. Thank you. So we've done all of the above in terms of, we recently spoke in August at the IUP event on data centers. So it was us, Amazon, a few other folks talking about what's going to be needed. That is the wild west of topics in terms of is as much as you want to go into it, we can. It's so specifically from a workforce perspective, it's going to be construction related occupations for the build up, right? You're going to need hotel space. You're going to need roads in good conditions as you're going to be hauling a lot of materials to work sites. It's not going to be a tremendous amount of jobs in the data center, right? But something I always go back to, and was actually talking to another commissioner about this, is ask any small business that has been around large scale growth. Would you want 1 to 3 years of excellent business in your hotels, in your restaurants? You know, it's never going to be the sustainability model for jobs and employment, but it's going to produce an opportunity for businesses to come here, grow around it. Tax base isn't great in terms of you can't really tax what's inside of the data center, just the building itself. So it's not also a huge moneymaker. It's a little bit of a polarizing topic in terms of the environmental effects. So I guess my question would be is what else would you like to know?
Maybe it's probably worth an agenda item at some point to talk about, or maybe like at the SPC commissioner retreat or something.
That would be great. We had Joanna Dobin come in and talk. Was that maybe, which one did she come in and present? Yes, she came in and gave a full overview of the whole process, and it might be great to have her come back. So yeah, if there's something specific, and please let us know if there's anything topic wise. We'll make sure to include data centers as an update for the next meeting. Anything else?
Any questions for Jen? All right, not hearing any. Thank you, Jen. Appreciate your report. We're moving on to other business. I believe Chuck is still on the whenever.
Call the chat. Send it out.
WebEx, yeah, WebEx. Chuck, if you wouldn't mind, could you give us an update on the state budget? I know Jed referenced it a few times, but any updates?
He's still on. He might have dropped. Feel like
The news and maybe updates.
oh, what?
There you go. There you go, guys. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Chuck, we can't. Any update because of the state budget?
Yeah, if you guys can hear me. Well, there was a meeting today with the governor and the leaders of all four caucuses. It went reasonably well. We understand. There will be another meeting's been scheduled to consider coming to a common agreement. They're not that far away. I mean, the Senate has passed legislation that's about $47 to $48 billion. The House Democrats number is about a little less than $50 billion. So billion here, billion there, pretty soon you're talking about real money, right? But I think that there are issues that are still outstanding that I'd like to have addressed. Senate Republicans, somewhat have got their nose out of joint because they believe the governor made a commitment on private school vouchers and scholarships, and the governor reneged on that. And so I think the Senate Republican leadership pushing heavily on that. There are other issues they want to address this fall. As you know, the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program application period is open. It opened, and we're waiting to hear some awards to be made. And then the other thing is transportation issues. The Commonwealth Financing Authority has a lot of issues they want to address, including the local share account, which a lot of you are concerned about, multimodal transportation grants, things like that. There will not be a CFA meeting until there's a budget. So the pressure is building. And one final thing, as you probably know, State Treasurer Stacey Garrity has proposed using $500 million to make special grants for various programs. There's some disagreement from the Senate Democrats whether or not she has the authority to do that. But I do think there's progress. Now, that's today, and tomorrow it may go the other way. But I think people are realizing that there's a lot of pressure being created. I know Westmoreland County. I believe I was out there with Westmoreland County last week, and some people have been laid off. Allegheny County, I believe there's a hiring freeze. There's other things. So I think pressure is starting to build. So the only thing I can tell you, I'm up here in Harrisburg. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I know Carrie was there, but I do think there has been some minimal progress. We'll see what happens tonight and tomorrow, and we'll keep you apprised.
All right, thank you, Chuck. I had one thing under other business, which I mentioned earlier in our previous meeting. Email went out earlier today from Darren Alviano. He's the planning director in Armstrong County. He's also the chairman of the nominating committee. As you all know, I'll be finishing up as chairman here at the end of the year, which typically past practice has been Vince Vicides, who serves as the vice chair, would move up to chairman, and Betsy McClure from Greene County would move up to vice chair. So we need to select a secretary. So there were some new people that jumped into this meeting that arrived. Make sure that you and your board of commissioners in your county have your nominating person ready to go over the next 4 or 5 weeks. And then Darren will lead that nomination committee, and in our December meeting, we will pick or select a secretary to fill that vacancy. Any questions on that? I always open it up for to the floor. Any other business to come before the full commission? A trailing. All right, this is the time where you guys pull out your Halloween mask. Get out of here. Nothing. All right. Well, we appreciate the work you do. All right, this reminder, our next meeting will be December 15th, 2025. Those reminders will go out a little beginning of November. Not hearing anything else, looking for a motion to move. I feel it's a giant second. Leslie and Chris, thank you very much. All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed. All right. Thank you, everyone.